A shipyard in Singapore just hit a real milestone in one of Southeast Asia's most closely watched naval programs. ST Engineering has officially launched the second multi-role combat vessel, the MRCV, being built for the Republic of Singapore Navy. The shipbuilder confirmed the launch, which is visible, physical proof that a years-long fleet renewal effort is actually moving forward. RETENTIONCHECKPOINT 000 hook. Most newsworthy verified facts stated plainly. This isn't a small thing. A ship launch, the moment a hull leaves the building dock and touches water for the first time, is about as clear a public marker as a shipbuilding program can give. It tells outside observers and Singapore's neighbors in the region that steel cutting, hull assembly, and fitting out work is on schedule or close enough to it. So what does this launch actually confirm? What does it leave open? And what does it say about how Singapore is rebuilding its navy for the next few decades? That's what we're walking through today, sticking to what's actually been confirmed and flagging clearly where the picture is still incomplete. Start with what's been reported. ST Engineering, Singapore's largest defense and engineering conglomerate, confirmed the launch of the second MRCV hull for the Republic of Singapore Navy, or RSN. Officials described the launch as continued progress in Singapore's long-term fleet recapitalization effort. The broader, multi-year push to swap out older surface combatants for a newer, more capable generation of ships. Under that recapitalization plan, the new MRCV class is set to replace the RSN's aging formidable class frigates over the coming years, according to the program's stated goals. That's the headline. A second hull is in the water now, and it belongs to a class built to take over frontline duties from ships that have been in service a long time. One thing that stuck with me reading through the coverage, milestones like this rarely make loud headlines outside specialist defense press, but they're some of the most reliable signals you can get about a country's actual military trajectory. More reliable than announcements. More reliable than a press conference. A launched hull is a physical fact. A promise isn't. RETENTIONCHECKPOINT. Personal narrator phrase. Research angle. Some context kept separate from the specifics of this launch. A launch, in shipbuilding, is different from a ship entering service. It means the hull is complete enough to float, and it moves from a dry dock or slipway into the water. From there, it usually takes months, sometimes years, of further work. Propulsion, combat systems, sensors, weapons, electronics, then sea trials before it's formally commissioned. A launch matters. It's not the finish line. Multi-role combat vessel describes a design philosophy as much as a ship. Multi-role combatants are generally built with flexible mission spaces, reconfigurable decks or bays that can be adapted to carry different equipment, from unmanned systems to extra sensors. So one hull can be tasked with different jobs across its service life instead of being locked into a single role. That modular approach has become common among navies trying to stretch shipbuilding budgets across multiple missions. Here's the part that actually matters strategically. Fleet recapitalization programs aren't just maintenance. They're a country deciding, years ahead of time, what kind of navy it wants to run a decade or two from now. Singapore sits along one of the busiest, most strategically sensitive waterways on the planet, at the southern end of the South China Sea and the entrance to the Malacca Strait, through which a huge share of global maritime trade passes. How well a navy can patrol, deter, and respond there depends heavily on the age and capability of its surface fleet. What gets me about this case is how deliberately incremental it is. There's no single dramatic reveal, just steady, hull-by-hull progress, reported plainly and confirmed by the builder at each step. That's probably the most honest way to judge whether a modernization program is real, not the press release when it's announced, but whether hulls keep hitting the water on schedule year after year. RETENTIONCHECKPOINT. Authorial opinion block. It's worth being blunt about where the uncertainty actually sits, because that's where a lot of casual reporting on programs like this goes wrong. Confirmed. ST Engineering built it. A second MRCV hull has been launched, and the program is meant to replace the formidable class frigates over time. Not confirmed, and not something we'll state as fact here. Exact commissioning dates for this hull, the total number of MRCVs planned, precise displacement or weapons fit, and how fast the rest of the replacements will happen. Public defense programs frequently see those specifics shift as construction progresses, so treat any number not tied to an official statement as provisional. RETENTION CHECKPOINT, 50% mark mid-roll hook. Here's a question worth sitting with. How do you actually judge whether a naval modernization program is on track when governments rarely publish detailed shipbuilding schedules? Do you trust the announcement, or do you wait for the physical milestones? Steel cutting, keel laying, launch, sea trials, commissioning, to line up one after another before you believe the timeline? That question goes beyond Singapore. Several navies across the region are replacing Cold War and early 2000s era frigates and corvettes with new multi-role designs at the same time, and the pace of those programs is one of the more concrete things analysts use to track shifting naval balances in Southeast Asia. Far more concrete than statements of intent. If you've ever followed a long infrastructure project, a bridge, a rail line, a big construction job, you know the pattern. Initial announcements draw attention, then years of quiet, technical progress that rarely makes news until a visible milestone brings it back into view. This launch is exactly that kind of milestone for Singapore's fleet renewal. So where does this actually leave things? Confirmed. A second MRCV for the Republic of Singapore Navy has been launched, built by ST Engineering, as part of a recapitalization program meant to eventually replace the formidable class frigates. Not public, or not something we can verify independently, the exact commissioning timeline for this hull and the full specifications of the class once it enters service. Here's what we'd want you to take away. Judge programs like this by their physical milestones, not their press cycles. A launch is real, verifiable progress, concrete evidence a shipyard is actually delivering against a plan. Whether the broader recapitalization stays on schedule depends on what comes next. Fitting out, trials, and eventually commissioning, each one its own milestone worth watching. RETENTIONCHECKPOINT, engagement hook. Do you think island and coastal states like Singapore are moving fast enough on fleet renewal given how contested Southeast Asian waters have become? Or is this the kind of steady, unglamorous progress that actually reflects a well-run program? Tell us where you land in the comments. We read them. For now, the confirmed record is simple and worth stating precisely. ST Engineering has launched the second multi-role combat vessel for the Republic of Singapore Navy, another physical step toward replacing the fleet's aging frigates over the years ahead. Everything past that, timelines, final specifications, the shape of the finished class, is still to be confirmed as the program moves forward. We'll be tracking it as new, verifiable details come out.